Hey guys, Christina here and welcome back to my channel. I realized last week that this week's video is gonna be my number 30, and that means that I've shared with you quite a lot of my artwork that I've done recently, but you still have no idea where I create my art. So I thought it would be very interesting to and very nice to celebrate the 30th video with something kind of special and a little bit of an art station tour, just so you can get an idea of where I create my drawings and what materials I work with and just how disorganized my life is, really. My work area is by no means perfect. It's in my kitchen because that was the only room that we've got in this flat where I can fit my stuff. So I'm kind of stuck with it. Also, the lighting is horrendous. I apologize for that. But it's just the lighting in the kitchen that we get. So there was not much that I could have done. It just proves that all my filming light is not just for when I'm filming, but if I didn't have it there while I was drawing, I wouldn't have been able to create anything because I wouldn't have been able to see anything at all. But I really hope you guys enjoy today's video. I hope you find it interesting, and I was gonna stop rambling now and we're gonna get into the actual thing. Okay guys, so this is kind of like an overview of my work area. As I said, it's in the kitchen and I just happen to have this sort of like really useless kitchen space which is right next to the door. So this is where I managed to fit all of my stuff. So the first thing that you see when you enter, like the first thing on your left is, well, right. The first thing on your right is this black table, and this is my laptop station. This is where I do most of my university work, and this is where I would sit and like work on my concept sometimes if I'm using reference pictures. I try to keep this desk very empty just because clutter stresses me out when I work, especially like when it comes to uni work. It really makes me very nervous. That I have a little candle, some shells that we collected at the beach recently, and then over here I have some things that I need to read for uni. I used to keep my printer here, but I don't keep it here anymore because first the connection, like the Wi-Fi connection in the kitchen is horrible, and the printer is not working properly, and second of all, again, it was taking too much space, so I moved it into the living room. But over here in this red cube that's turned sort of to face this black desk, I have a lot of my university sketchbooks, a notebook that I use for some notes when I do research. In this cup I keep a bunch of pencils and pens. I have my memory sticks, and then under here I've got plastic sleeves for paper, my printer paper, my photo paper, like again for printing, that sort of thing. Things that I might need to grab while I'm using my computer, and basically university stuff. On top of this, there is this yellow storage unit, and I keep my color pencils in here, and they're sort of like color coordinated in like color families that make sense to me. And the reason why I did that was because I've noticed I haven't really been using my colored pencils lately, so I decided to really change that, and I took them out of their boxes and I mixed them all together and I put them somewhere I'll be able to see them, and it's actually working. I managed to trick myself and I'm actually using my colored pencils again. But the pencils that I've got are, I have the Prismacolor pencils. I've got the 72 set, and it was a gift from my previous landlord, funny enough. He had them and he didn't want to use them anymore, and he decided that they'll have a better home with me. So I'm forever grateful for that, because at that point in time when he gave me those pencils there was no chance like that I could afford them, but that was a really kind thing for him to do. And then I have this set of pencils. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that brand, but they're my first set of pencils that I remember ever buying, and I still really enjoy working with them, so I'm still keeping them. And I use them just as much as I use the Prismacolors. Right, the next thing is another red box, and this is my sort of paper box. On top of here, the scales is just some tracing paper that I started using for something, and because I had to cut smaller pieces of it, I'm just keeping it here to remember to use it for small projects. This here on top are just some scrapbooking type of papers that I use for background sometimes. And then underneath of it all, they're my sketchbooks. So this here is my watercolor sketchbook. This is white cardstock, some colored cardstock over here. Every color is in like a plastic sleeve. Then my mixed media paper, and yeah, just random sketchbooks, nothing too interesting. I love trying out new paper, but I hate looking at it just like standing there not being used, so I try to keep my shopping habits under control when it comes to like art stuff in general. But on top of this box, we get more pens and pencils basically. Again, another storage box that belonged to my boyfriend, and it's originally for storing Lego bricks. He doesn't use it, blah blah blah. So I have my erasers in this one. I have pencils that I use for sketching in this one. I have my fine liners here. I have my aquash brushes in this one. I have my Inktense pencils in this one in the back. I don't have that many of them, but I really love these pencils. Then I have an old set of watercolor pencils over here. What was the brand? Oh yeah, there you go. I don't use them that often, but it's nice to know that I have them. Usually when I use watercolor pencils, it's for like smaller projects or like outlining work that I'm later going to color with watercolors. Over here I have my sad collection of brushes. I'm horrible at taking care of paintbrushes. I ruin them all the time. So, and I don't use paints all that often anyway, so I haven't purchased any new brushes in a very long time, and this is sort of like the leftover soldiers from my last painting. Over here we've got some of my pens, so things like jelly roll pens, metallic pens. This is what I would keep in here. And this thing again is something new that I did relatively recently. Before that, pretty much everything that you see has a separate box. It had a separate like coffee mug, and it would take so much room in that area over there. It will be so hard to get into that little unit that it was just frustrating. I was not using things that are in there that I needed. And anyway, so this is so much better than what it used to be. And the cool thing is that when I'm working on a drawing, I can just take the whole thing and put it on my desk and grab a bunch of stuff, and then I just put it back there, and it's preventing mess from happening, which mess obviously happens in here, but I try to minimize it sometimes. So here we've got some plastic folders, pockets. This one holds artwork that's done on 12 by 12 like scrapbooking paper, and that artwork doesn't fit in like any binders that I've got, so it lives here for now. In this one are some of my initial sketches, like initial concepts, things like that. Again, for like larger scale artwork. And then this binder here is for my artwork that you've seen on my channel before. So something that I wanted to show you is that I don't only keep the final drawing that I've done, but I keep, that was not a good example. Anyway, I don't only keep the final drawing that I've done, but when possible I keep the initial sketch that I've done, and then the sheet of tracing paper that I used to trace my original sketch onto the final piece of paper that you see me color in my videos. So I try and do that. I don't know why, but I like to know that I've saved everything. So then in this area I've got one of my lights that I use for filming. I've got that little Christmas candle year round. It's a gift from a girl that I used to work with, and like she made it and gave it to me, so I keep it here. I have a calendar at the back. Those two rolls of sort of grease-proof baking sort of paper, I use them instead of tracing paper sometimes when it's for something like random that I'm doing around the house. When it's not for uni, I would occasionally use them instead of tracing paper, because I go through a lot of tracing paper from my university work, and it can get very, very expensive. And I also use it in my art as well, because I don't have a light box, so sometimes I have to like transfer my own drawings, like my own sketches, onto like the new sheet of paper that I'm going to use for coloring. So in this unit there is nothing too interesting really. In this thing right here I keep some extra erasers. Those small white things that you see are the refill erasers from my mechanic eraser. You get some extra lids, and most important, the little Shopkins pencil topper things. They're just too cute, and I keep them in here. Not that I'm gonna use them, but I'd like to know I have them. This one's empty. This one has a glue gun and some pins that I used to use for uni when we were still pinning up our work on the walls. This is just an adhesive drawer that's fairly empty right now because I haven't started making models for university again. Some tapes, and these things are just my tools that I use when I make models for uni again. Right, so now we're on to the main attraction, my white disc. So on top of that I have the light that I use when I'm drawing, because this is a very dark corner of the room. I have my e-book, some more sketchbooks, some coloring books, and some of my art books. I only keep 3 of them over here, but I keep one for references for flowers. This is mythical creatures. This one is in Bulgarian, but it's sort of like the human body, how you draw it, and has very, very nice pencil drawings in here. Old sketchbook, old album. So that's pretty much it. Onto the first shelf over here, I have these things. If anyone knows what this thing is called, can you please tell me? I have them, I use them, I have no idea what they are. I probably use them wrong. But they're these little jars, and it's kind of like a varnish with some sparkle, like some sparkling metallic paint mixed in it, and it kind of looks like this. When you use it, it sort of separates. I don't know if you were able to tell, but if you know what this is, let me know. Then we have my watercolors, just PBR watercolor. In this tray I have matte medium, masking fluid, old bottle of varnish. I have my inks over here. I have Winsor & Newton and Kohinoor. I know this is not how most people pronounce the name of that brand, but this is just how I've always called them, so I'm not gonna change. I'm sorry. I have my color bursts as well. I have orange, violet, green and yellow. And back there, and that bottle over there, that's my spray bottle with water that I use for my color bursts. And these two pouches at the back, one of them is gold acrylic paint and the other one's silver. You've seen me use them in my latest videos. On to the next shelf. This is my marker shelf. I use a mixture of Spectrum Noir, Copics and Pro markers. And I keep the Spectrum Noirs and the Copic markers together because I use them together. The only markers that I don't mix in with them are the Pro markers, and unfortunately it's just a packaging issue. I have a problem with the plastic they're made of. So the scratchy noise that plastic makes drives me completely insane. So I keep my Pro markers separate, and that way I know that when I'm reaching for a color, I won't like accidentally scratch one of those markers and then complain about it for a month. Over here I've got my Staedtler fine liners that I use for when I want to have like sort of colorful outlines to my marker drawings and my pencil work sometimes even. Then I have my Crayola markers that I use for that challenge ones, and I use them in my university sketchbook often for like color coordinating things. So we've got that. Then we've got my Sharpie collection. I say collection. I bought one set of Sharpies and it just happens to be a big set that was for, like, I got it for a very good price. It was on sale. That middle thing over there, I keep as a disc bin type of thing. Then like this disc comes with like a magnetic board that's a whiteboard at the same time. I use it as a magnetic board, but I have my color charts for my Pro markers, Spectrum Noirs and Copic markers. Right here is the surface that I draw on when I'm filming my videos, and it's just a piece of cardboard that at this point looks nasty because of all the marker ink and paint that's on it, so I'll need to change that soon. That over there is my phone that's charging. Over here we've got my planner, my YouTube sort of planner, and just some stationery like some clips, staples and that sort of thing. Over there I don't even really feel like getting into it, but we've got some extra storage boxes. We've got some mugs that I use for when I work with paints, and we've got some sketchbooks. We've got an A2 sketchbook and an A3 sketchbook, and that pink thing that you see is a bag that holds all of my like larger rulers that I use for when I make models. Over here I have my portfolio folder and my cutting mat and just some cardboard and a note frame. So moving over here again, we have this drawer in my desk, and right now over here I keep the markers that I know I'm going to use for a project that I'm working on. This is the project itself. Just paper bags, batteries for my mouse, some cords, hole puncher, that type of thing. And that's pretty much it for that disc. The only thing that's left is that there. Right guys, so right now we're under the white table with the red boxes on top, and this is the plastic unit that I was showing you. So I'm not even gonna open it because not everything in here is like art related. But you get some charcoal, some lids that I use for my mechanical pencils. Those white boxes, they're lids for mechanical pencils as well. The second drawer, that one is just some Christmas stuff, like decoration for Christmas cards and for presents. The bottom drawer is some materials that I use for model making, so it's some plastic that I would use for windows and some clay. Then in that tab in the corner, you get some canvases, an old frame apparently, and you get bottles of paint that my boyfriend got before he even met me. He was making a poster or something and he just got the large bottles of very cheap paint to get it done. And then, speaking of paint, this box, it usually sits right there on top of the unit, but it holds all of my paints. So I have a small kind of selection. I have Winsor & Newton. I don't even know, I got this for something really stupid that I was doing and I wanted to use cheap paint for it. I got that one. The one that I really like is this one. I used to use it for my art classes. And the two big tubes are just paint that I bought for specific projects, and I knew I need the exact shade that this paint is, so I couldn't be bothered mixing that color in large amounts, so I just got like the pre-mixed sort of paint. And that black bag over here is where my lighting equipment stays when I don't use it. But yeah guys, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna stand up now and I hope no one gets dizzy. But that's pretty much it. That's all the things that I've got. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of my workstation and tell me something about yours. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.